Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Connect EURANET radio show. There's Ms. Zimmer arriving. Welcome. Okay, so in order to prepare yourself now for the second half for your thoughts and questions, just to let you know, the next hour will be split into 2 parts. So the first half an hour will be with myself about the iPod generation, and the second half hour on the NEET generation with Michael Mansk, a Slovenian broadcaster who's in the audience at the moment. So he will tell you more about the NEET generation if you're not sure what it is. But for the moment, let's focus on the iPods, the bright, young, qualified graduates out there who are doomed to a life doing internship after internship. The iPod generation stands for insecure, pressurised, overtaxed and debt-ridden. But we'll be finding a bit more about that in the next half an hour. So joining us here to discuss this very controversial issue is Gabriele Zimmer, German MEP here from the European United Left group here in the European Parliament. She sits on the Committee for Employment and Social Affairs. So thanks very much for joining us here.
Hello.
I have a fellow Irish person here, an Irish politician and member of the European Parliament, Marian Harkin. She represents the ALDE Party, the Alliance for Liberals and Democrats. And she's actually a forerunner as well this year for the European Year of Volunteering. So thanks very much for coming along. And then we have German politician and MEP Jutta Steinruck. She's also on the Employment and Social Affairs Committee. She's from the Socialists and Democrats. And she's also very highly involved in the Youth on the Move. So no stranger of youth. So thank you very much for coming as well.
Thank you.
And we have our guests as well, who you've already seen. Sasha from Bonn.
Hello.
And Martin from Sweden, from Radio Ubruro. So, guys, if you'd like to go ahead with your first question.
Yes, you introduced it very well. We have a lot of young people who are in the internship loop. And my question to you, Ms. Steinruck, is that young people who have been unemployed for some time have difficulties to re-enter the labor market. So what can the EU offer for those people to be done to reintegrate them so that they have better conditions to find a job?
Difficult question to answer in few sentences, but our aim has to be that young people find really very quickly entrance into jobs. So all efforts our member states have to do is to bring up possibilities to brighten qualifications. So we start within school and education and university educations not to be focused in one issue. The best thing, you study one issue and you enter your job. So you may start with an internship. That is okay to find out what's the way you like the most. But paid internship, sure, and not endless. But you should get the possibility to find out and not to stay out of job very long, because I think it's really difficult after a long time of unemployment when you've never worked to enter the labor market.
Okay, and you are from the Radio Bonn, the University of Bonn, and on that note, I would like to play now the clip that you prepared for today's debate, if the technicians are ready there to go with that clip, before we move on to Martin's question.
The generation has become a reality for many undergraduate students in Germany. Ill-paid, underqualified and worried about the future, students of all courses are moving from internship to internship, looking for the perfect curriculum vitae. But are German students really so afraid of their future careers? Bonn Campus 96.8 asked a few students about their thoughts on internship and job opportunities.
I think internships give us lots of opportunities to convince ourselves if our fields of study really matches our expectations, and additionally internships make it easier for us to find out where to begin when it comes to start with a real job.
As I'm going to earn a medical degree, I'm quite sure that I'll get a job after studying. No, I'm not worried about that.
I'm a major in German-Italian studies, and in my opinion, I think that the chances of getting a job are quite rare. But anyway, I think that it won't really matter what you study when you're trying to find a job later on, because all that matters is your work experience.
Doesn't sound too hopeful, does it?
Well, I mean, the one thing I would say is that if you look at the youth unemployment rate in Germany, it's the lowest in the EU. And if there are real concerns among young people in Germany, I mean, just imagine what concerns are like in countries where the youth unemployment rate is 4 or 5 times that. In Spain, for example, it's almost 43%. In my own country, Ireland, from 15 to 19-year-olds, it's 36%. So given that it's 6.5% in Germany, you can imagine the problem that exists elsewhere. And it is a real difficulty for people who are, if you like, stuck in internships. And I think one of the things that the EU promotes very much within the Youth on the Move project or programme is the whole idea of mobility. And in theory, we should be able to move from one country to another, perhaps to where the jobs are, to where our skills are most needed, etc. But there are a lot of barriers to that. And one of the things that we are trying to do is get rid of some of those barriers, you know, trying to ensure that professional qualifications are recognised in all member states. And also, you mentioned about the year on volunteering. There are many competences that young people, in particular through volunteering and other actions, can acquire that, you know, are not strictly educational competences, and they also, for example, through Europass, can be available to employers. So we are looking at ways of trying to get rid of some of the barriers to mobility. It's not an answer in itself. Mobility doesn't solve the problem in its own right, but it certainly does allow young people the opportunity sometimes to go to, as I said, where the jobs are and where their skills are needed.
And at the moment we're seeing in Ireland so many people flocking to Canada and Australia and the United States. I mean, we're not really keeping them here in Europe.
That's absolutely the truth, and that's, I suppose, to some extent because maybe they have connections there already, but young people are just leaving Ireland in their thousands and thousands. It's just incredible to see it, and I presume it may well be similar in some other countries as well. Whether the level of emigration is as high from other countries as it is from Ireland, I'm not sure. My colleagues might be aware of that, but it's really saddening to see a young generation having to leave. Mobility is great when it's by choice, but when you have to go, when you have no other opportunities, and you know, countries have invested in their young people as well, in their education and their training, and then that's gone. And some young people are happy to leave, but many do not want to leave. So there's no choice for many young people.
Mm-hmm. Now, Martin Altvater, would you like to ask a question to Frau Zimmer?
Yes, exactly. I would like to ask you the question. There are so many students who are basically dependent on, for example, the finances of their parents while they are studying. And then as soon as they're graduated, they're basically forced to take the first job that they can get just in order to pay back their loans. What do you think should be the right way of dealing with this kind of problem of paying back the loan while being employed in low-paying jobs, for example, internships or other jobs, and then being in debt for their whole life?
Yes, thank you very much for this question, because I think we have to change a lot in this way. I know a lot of young people, students and people who had finished their university, and they are coming to us here to Brussels. They want to make an internship, but I have the feeling that most of these people, they are looking for a job, not for an internship. They need money, they have to earn their first money, and they are looking what could they do. And they have the feeling society doesn't need us. 3, 4, 5 years we have studied, we learned a lot, we are experienced, but now nobody is interested in that what we could do. And I think we have to change a lot. We have to enhance the possibilities to look for a study, for a grant in other countries, to change universities. What will you do if you have spent 3 years and worked 3 years in a university, for example, in London, worked for your PhD, and after the 3 years, the grant is over. You have a small family, you have to go back, but your PhD, you didn't finish it. What's going now? It's not possible to do it in another university in Germany or in another. You will not get a grant because the university is saying, "Oh, this is our issue. We have spent it, we have financed it, and what you are doing now, it's your problem." And in this way, I think we need more programs which are crossovering between the countries, between the universities, and which gives the young people the chance also to change between the university and the countries. And we need a program for the first job for the postdoc students. It's not possible only to say, yes, you finished, but okay, you have to see what's the next will be.
Well, with regard to the internships there, the European Youth Forum, which is an umbrella organisation that represent youth and youth rights all over Europe, I've just been pointed out there by Letizia that they are they're working at the moment with the Commission and with the MEPs in the Parliament on the Employment and Social Affairs Committee with regards to interns, and they have set up a survey that they would like you to fill out if you are out there in the audience and if you are at the moment in a precarious internship contract. Theyouthforum.org is their website. So on that note, is there anyone in the audience? Sorry, I can't turn my back. I feel really rude here, but is there anyone in the audience who is in a precarious work situation or who is on an internship and they would like to share that with us? Or any comments or questions or remarks to our guests here? Sorry, I'm going to get a creak in my neck.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Krings. I'm from Bonn campus in Germany. My question is, I think it seems to be quite sure that there are going to be lots of freelancers in the future, especially in the creative jobs. So is there any way the EU can help these freelancers and give them a little more secure situation or bring them a secure situation? Thank you.
Well, I think one of the things that the EU is looking at is what they call enabling key technologies, because you're talking about young people in particular in the creative industries, looking at innovation, R&D, etc. And at the moment, there is a high-level group specifically looking at how to move from the creative idea to the marketplace. And I mean, that's what you want. It's to connect those two. And what they call the valley of death is in between them. And while I'm sure many of you don't want to hear about a high-level group and a report, will that report be implemented is the question. But they are looking at that. And in fact, I was speaking to Commissioner Tajani about this in the Parliament in Strasbourg last week. He was answering a question on it. And this is a new, exciting programme. And I believe that if it is carried through at European level, I think it will give opportunities for young creative people with ideas.
Any other answers there from our panel?
Yes, I watched that there, especially in Germany, we have a lot of young people entering jobs in freelancer jobs. Normally, or in former time, they were just quite decent jobs. And I know that's the next thing that follows up, unpaid internships. And the next way we are going, I think that's the freelancer job. Normally, we should ask the entrepreneurs for really responsibility for the young people, much more. That we should force them. If they don't agree in any way, we should give them certain kind of quotas.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well now at this stage I'd like to play another clip that were prepared by Radio Campus Warsaw this time, so our friends in Poland, if the guys would like to play it. That clip.
Akademickie Radio Campus. What young people learn and the knowledge and the skills they have after graduating is not really what the labor market wants, not what the employers want. They don't have practical skills.
I would lie if I would say it's very easy and you find everywhere a job. It's not so easy, but it depends on what you studied, what you want to do, and what is your project.
After such a university abroad, when it's more practical, we already know what we are interested in and what we want to do, and we are already prepared for a future job.
You can go to Canada as a young professional, go there for an internship, so you can even by yourself find a company that will hire you for an amount of time.
For one job as a hotel host, 110 people applied and only 4 have been shortlisted, so that's the kind of ratios you're looking at.
Akademickie Radio Campus 97,1 FM.
So that was a clip there from Radio Campus Warsaw, and we just had a quick transition of guests. So we've said goodbye to our friends from Sweden and Spain, and we're now replaced by Warsaw, Radio Campus Warsaw, by Matthews, and then Matthew from Trinity FM from Dublin. So would you like to tell us a bit about the clip and proceed with your first question for our MEPs?
I mean, we asked the answers of the questions were quite easy to find. I mean, many people were agreed with their fellows, so it was quite easy to make this.
And do you think people were genuinely worried?
I think it depends which people, because it's really hard to say that this people afraid and this not. I mean, sometimes it depends what these people studied, what are their professions. So it is a very complex case, and I think it's good to discuss about that.
Absolutely.
So
who would you like to address your first question to?
My first questions, I would like to address to Ms. Steinruck. It will be concerning the opening of the labor market in Germany and in Austria from 1st of May. And my question is, if this opening will be positive for the students from Germany and from Poland, also because 8 of this new membership countries the people from these countries can work in Germany and in Austria, and if it will be the positive for the young people from the Germany and Austria and from these new countries, how it will work?
The possibility to work all over Europe is really good for everybody, for people living in each member state, for students or pupils leaving school in each member state. It's really good that there's a possibility to go abroad, and we just talked about mobility, and so I think it's a really good thing. What we need is a certain kind of support for equal opportunities, equal social surroundings, and so that's what we have to care for, not to create a concurrent situation, just to be really equal and not to undermine the living conditions. But mobility needs security, so if people leave their home country and to go abroad, even special young people, there's a family, there is that's the time we want everybody to get children right now, so we should help everybody to find their way. So therefore we have to look not only mobility, those who want to be mobile, that's really good, and we should support them. I know that there are a lot of people going to study abroad, but I am very often told it's not possible if you don't have parents that pay. Erasmus is not so much money that you can study, you have your living costs, so we have to support much more from European level to support this mobility.
And funny, the second half of our panel debate here with Michael Mansk will discuss this issue, is what to do if you don't have enough money and how to stop the problem of school leavers and to improve the education for these NEETs, the Not in Education, Employment or Training Group. Okay, I think we had a question there behind us from Poland. Yeah.
Okay, Katarzyna Grodzka, Academic Radio Campus, and I have a question about the mobility. And the main problem in Poland a few years ago was the job immigration of Polish people, mostly to London, mostly to Dublin. And I would like, isn't the mobility like a small immigration? Isn't going to be a problem? Isn't the immigrants going to be less, aren't there going to be less tolerance for people who immigrated from the country?
Maybe Marion Harkin, you can take that as an Irish woman. You know that
yes, because a lot of people from Poland and Lithuania and Latvia came to Ireland, and Ireland, of course, is a very small country, just 4.5 million people. So even when small numbers come to Ireland, it becomes clear. I think that there are two issues here. First of all, the issue for Poland, but also for Lithuania, because at that particular point, it was a real brain drain, particularly from Lithuania, because again, it's a small country. So even relatively small numbers of young people leaving was a brain drain, and there was real concern at that time. And when people move because they don't have a choice, like I said earlier, because the economic conditions in their own country are not such that they have an opportunity for employment, and that is now happening in Ireland. When that happens, there is a real problem for the country itself, because if it's to grow and if its young people are to generate wealth, as you normally expect will happen, then if the young people are not there, if they've left, that is a real problem. So it's a problem for the country where people are leaving if they have no choice, and they leave in significant numbers. From the perspective of the welcoming or the incoming country, again, there can be issues there. As I said, Ireland is a small country, so when large numbers came to Ireland, and we opened our gates at that time, and we welcomed workers, but it does create tensions, and there's no point in saying it doesn't, particularly when you have a downturn, as we are now experiencing, and people then can look at citizens who have come from other member states and ask, are you taking our jobs, in a sense, not and understanding, of course, that the same freedom is there for young people to emigrate to other countries. So I think that there can be a problem. I'm not saying it's a particularly bad one. It's not. But I think to pretend that problem doesn't exist would be simply lying, actually.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that. Now, Matthew, what do you think? I mean, you're 19. You're studying now in Trinity.
Yeah.
In Dublin, and you're looking forward to getting a good job when you leave there in 3 years. Yeah, you were. Tell us about that and shoot out one of your questions there.
Well, I mean, in Ireland at the moment, the young people are, at the we are having to deal with a problem not of our own creating. A problem that is seemingly insurmountable, colossal debts, public and private, very difficult to pay back, tax increases, austerity. It's not an attractive place for employers or for employees. So I just wanted to ask, particularly Mrs. Harkin, but in general as well, do you think that in countries like Ireland and Greece and now Portugal and potentially Spain, where these problems seem so enormous, that there is anything that the European Union can do to help young people, or is it such a colossal problem that it's just we're going to have to wait it out?
Good question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, I will try to start with the answer, because I think it's a very different problem because of the different situation in the member states of the European Union. In Portugal, in Ireland and other countries, we have a lack of jobs, of possibilities for young people to create their own future. In other countries, like in Germany and others, we have a lack of qualified people in different branches. And that's why I think mobility is one of the most important issues to overcome the situation and to help people to find their job. But I agree also that it is a hard question to say, if you want to have or to build up your own future, you have to leave your country, your region, and to have to go to another country. I think we need a program situated to the concrete development in the regions. We have to do more, to invest more in the regions, to create jobs. I'm coming from a region in Germany where the most of the young people are leaving the region to look for other jobs in other regions. And in my region, we have only a small degree of young boys, guys, without a good qualification. And this is like a development, a never-ending development. It's never ending. You have not a chance, because in a region where you have not good jobs, people don't come back. It's not sufficient only to say, yes, now we are starting a program for the people who left in the last years these regions, and we will get them back. And we say, yes, you can get a place in a kindergarten, but without a job, what should you do with a place in a kindergarten? It's not a coherent program. We need a future program for all, and that's why I think we have to look. We have to invest in training programs. We have to invest in kindergartens, but we have also to speak about and to discuss about a basic income system for young people. And also, yes, we have the discussion about concerning non-conditional basic income systems, that it's possible to overlive a special period and to say, yes, I will look for the best possibilities for me, my family, and my future. Mm-hmm. And there we have to do more between the different regions. And yes, I think the first step must be to invest in the regions.
Thanks for that. And getting back to Mrs. Harkin there, I mean, you...
To specifically respond about Ireland, and while I don't want to spend too long on that, I suppose it's the country I know best.
But it is interesting because the relationship now between Brussels
But it's equally the case. I mean, the youth unemployment is higher in Spain, for example, and it's almost as high in Portugal, etc. And I mean, I can honestly believe that young people, particularly in Greece and in Ireland and in Portugal, countries that are at the moment in bailout, can we say, Portugal is almost there, must be very angry because there are problems there that they can honestly say they're not of their own making. They are of the making of my generation and generations that went before me and came after me. And yet, you know, in many ways, we have frittered away your inheritance, and that's a huge responsibility we have to bear. So I think your question is what can we do about that?
And what can the EU do more specifically?
Well, I mean, it's largely up to member states, and the EU at the moment is providing funding so that member states some of those member states can continue to operate. I'm not going to go into the rights or wrongs of that, except to say that in the case of Ireland, that funding was predicated on a certain level of growth, which was never going to happen, and now we know it's not going to happen. But that's a separate issue. I think what you're looking for is solutions rather than complaining about the problem. Yeah. And one of the things I think that the EU can do and is doing to some extent, but I think member states need to do a lot more of, is to encourage entrepreneurs and people who want to set up their own business, because how are jobs created? Government don't create jobs. They just simply create the conditions that allow others to create jobs, apart from, of course, jobs in the public service. So at the moment, for example, there's a microfinance initiative from the EU. Now, in the scheme of things, it's small, but nonetheless, it does allow entrepreneurs in different member states to access small funding, under €25,000, to set up a small business. And I think there needs to be more of that. I think there needs to be action, particularly in those countries that are undergoing austerity measures. And as I said, we won't argue the rights or wrongs of that. But I think there needs to be action in job creation, because otherwise the jobs won't be created. And as a member of the generation, as I said, that helped to cause this problem, we have a real responsibility to ensure that happens.
Any questions there from the audience? Any remarks? Yeah, we've one there. Oh, from Nikos. From Greece. We were in fact meant to have a Greek MEP here. Unfortunately, she couldn't come. It would have been interesting. Just introduce yourself there, please.
Okay. Hello. I would like to ask you a kind of emotional question, let's say. I came here in Belgium 7-8 months ago because I couldn't find anything back in Greece. I have a lot of friends now in Greece that they are asking me, hey, Nikos, is there any job for us as well? Because, man, we can't do anything here. We can't find anything here. And I'm talking about guys with a master, not only with a bachelor. What shall I tell them? I mean, guys, come, just be patient and the whole thing will be better, or just follow my example? What can I tell them? Thank you.
Would you like to offer him some advice?
I hope you found a job here in Belgium, or it's only internship. So I think the solution is not to travel around Europe, to put house on your shoulder and to travel around and to find each year another job. That cannot be the future of Europe. I agree to my colleagues that we have to create new jobs, and that we have to develop regions. We have to find new technologies. We have to really find new ways. More than a couple of years ago, we didn't knew computers. Now it's a really big possibility for jobs. So we have to go forward in technologies. And yes, I would say it's better your friends find a job in Greece, but not. And if they are able to, they should move. But everybody should stay there with family and where they want to stay.
A follow-up there. Okay, very, very, very fast.
Yeah, this is the problem. I study IT technology as well. The problem is that I can't find a work because there are so many students of information technology and computers, and especially in Greece, we don't have the companies, we don't have all the facilities and all of that. So they are just unemployed. That's why I think that the problem is not the same in all countries. That's why I say what they have to do, what we have to do. Not only me.
That's why we're here today, to try and figure that out, that very
it's
question.
a rhetorical question, let's say.
Okay, well, I'm afraid we don't have time to continue this.
Just one sentence. We have to help you to find a new way. If the job you studied, there is no possibility. I don't know why. But then we have to support you. The member states have to support you to find new possibilities.
Yeah, and after this radio show, there will be a networking opportunity and a cocktail for all, so if you would like to interact more with our MEPs. But for the moment, that's it from our part, from the iPod generation. And I'm going to leave you now in the hands of Michael Mansk, Slovenian radio broadcaster, who's on his way to talk more about the kind of fundamental problems, education and the NEET, the not in education, employment or training. But thank you very much to our MEPs, Gabriele Zimmer, Jutta Steinruck and Marion Harkin for coming, Matthew from Trinity FM and Matthew from Radio Campus Warsaw. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day.